people talk about how much energy it takes to train an AI model relative to how much it costs a human to do one inference query. But it also takes a lot of energy to train a human. It takes like 20 years of life and all of the food you eat during that time before you get smart.
Excuse me, Sam. I think you might have forgotten how to be a human. Hi guys, my name is Marina. I'm a traditional oil painter and I'm here to give my 2 cents about AI that nobody asked for. I see a lot of people stressing over what's going on with AI, about how it's going to replace us, how we're going to be out of jobs, and I get it. It's overwhelming, it's new, but I like to think of it as like a second industrial revolution. Think about it. First industrial revolution, obviously we had all of these machines all of a sudden being able to do the job for you, and a lot of people ultimately got put out of work. But higher education also became a commonplace. A lot of people went to uni and college to skill up and to use their brain more, because if machine's going to take your job away, then what other assets have we got left? It's our mind. Big difference is ultimately that AI is meant to replace our thinking. My problem with that is, although it can replace our thinking, it cannot replace the human experience. Everything we create, everything that we touch, we leave our mark on it. Buildings. Brutalism, we have labeled it now, is a new form of how we build. But it wasn't always that way. And I think you will find it hard to find anybody who would prefer a brutalist type of rectangular building over, for example, a beautiful cathedral in Italy. The reason why I'm pointing this out is because I believe that humans are unique in the sense that we absolutely crave beauty. And while AI can create beauty, they can source all of our work that we have done, that we can take from the internet, our images, our paintings, our music, our literature, and it can try and recreate it. But people ultimately will not value that as original. You listen to Taylor Swift, I don't, but you might, no hate, and you start thinking about what sort of life experiences could Taylor Swift have had to make that sort of music? What caused her to use the sort of lyrics that she wrote? What's the story behind that? Similar with artworks, you look at a piece of art and you think, what could it mean? What was the painter thinking when they painted that? We as humans crave connection with one another. It's a pendulum that's swinging backwards now. So many of our younger generation have started picking up old habits, crocheting, knitting. I think that is a sign fundamentally of the newer generations coming up who have now already grown up on technology, that they crave the old kind of lifestyle where you could still create things by hand, where you could learn from your grandmother how to knit or crochet. And obviously we have YouTube now, and most of the people who crochet and knit most likely learned it from a YouTube video. But that YouTube video was also made by a person, and you probably chose that YouTube video based on the person's personality. And that's not something that can be taken away from us. AI can mimic us, AI can deep fake us, it can try and replicate what we do, but we as humans know that that's not human. So fundamentally, I do believe that when it comes to AI, people will win because we want to be in our own team. While all of these rich people would prefer to have a solution to all of their business problems with a cheap solution such as AI, first and foremost, it's only cheap while they still have people doing a lot of the work still. The more AI we're going to use, the more energy that AI will need to use as well. And it's going to hike up in prices pretty quickly. What I'm trying to say with that is while it sounds like a good investment for these big corporations to sack a bunch of their staff and implement AI for whatever work they require, secretarial, reception, whatever it is, it will ultimately still be more expensive because AI is also a market in and of itself, and prices will start pushing based on demand. What I'm trying to say with that is, from a customer point of view as well, there are certain things that AI will not be able to replace us with. One of the things I think would be sales. We all know by now that sales comes purely from emotion. Now, if it comes from emotion, then we can obviously be intrigued emotionally by photos, videos. That's how online shopping works. I get all of that. But there are still certain things that you would want to do in person. You might risk getting a TV online, but you most likely still want to go into the store and look at it and just check it out. How thick is that plasma? You know, what's the quality really like? Is it really 4K? Like, does it actually look good? Like, when I look at that one and this one, is it actually looking better, or should I buy the more expensive one for whatever reason? That you only find out when you're in there physically. Now, we can have AI robots. Sure, they speak of it, whatever. But I don't think it's going to be an AI robot that's going to sell that TV to you. It's going to be a person. Because a person is going to be the one who's going to have the ability to look you in the eye, make that human connection, and be like, buy the more expensive one, because I'm going to upsell you right now and tell you why it's better than that one. While AI can be efficient in all sorts of ways, I think that no matter how efficient it is, humans ultimately will opt to trust humans more. Now, that can also go backwards, and you could argue that AI will be more reliable because AI is programmed to know all of the facts correctly, which is, by the way, we already know is not true. We know that AI needs to be programmed and trained, and it can only be programmed and trained based on the information it is provided with. So I question how reliable the information it will provide us with actually will be, objectively. Because I do believe that if you want to rely on an algorithm that is being fed all sorts of information, can also be misled, which will be an amazing cluster of disinformation. The reason why I'm pointing this out is because I think that ultimately it is the human need for connection and the human need for beauty and authenticity is what's going to triumph over AI. You will prefer a book written by a person over AI. And the reason for that is while you have to pay a certain sum that's probably more expensive than if an AI wrote it, you can read up on that author. You can read about their life, you can read about their childhood in some circumstances, about the hardships they went through. J.K. Rowling is a perfect example of that. Now, imagine AI wrote Harry Potter. The story would still be spectacular. People would still love it, I'm sure. But I also don't know how truly invested people would get, because they know on the baseline that it wasn't actually written by a person. So they start thinking, well, hang on, this is just the mashup of all of these experiences and data that this program has read up on, but it's still not human. I don't know how else to say this. If it's not human, I don't think we will invest as much money into. And sure, in certain circumstances, we will rely on AI because it might be the cheaper option. Majority of us have probably at least tried AI once. I for myself can say that I used AI for the first time last year. I tried ChatGPT. I didn't try it to write something for me. I actually tried it because, if you haven't been able to tell, I speak English as a second language, and I wanted to check if my sentence actually made sense. So I thought, well, you know what? This might be a good use for ChatGPT. Let's pop in this sentence, see what it says. Like, did I get it? Like, am I writing this grammatically correctly? Is it too long? So I definitely think we will get use out of it, but I don't think people need to be as panicked over it as they are now. And I do believe that with this pendulum swinging so far with technology, with like the use of AI being implemented everywhere, that it will start swinging backwards, where people will just absolutely crave something that's more human. So I wouldn't be surprised if going forward in the next 5 to 10 years, AI is meant to skyrocket in popularity in the next 5 years. But I think classical arts will as well. I think people will opt to play more instruments. I think people will want to buy more art made by hand because it feels alien to buy something that was created by a machine. And I think it's different from products like clothing and whatever that used to be made by hand, and we don't as often buy clothes that are made by hand anymore because they're mass produced. But any form of art, if you think about it, whether it be a book, painting, music, those are all luxuries, right? Like, it's not a necessity for your everyday life. So if it's a luxury, then you want to know your reason for why you're consuming that kind of luxury thing. And if it's made by a machine, in my mind, it's hard to justify it. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on the matter. I'd love to hear your opinions on the matter as well. This is my first video, so your feedback would be greatly appreciated in the comments below. And if you like my content, then don't forget to like and subscribe for my next video. See you then.